So say, for example, like over here in Chicago, there's a bunch of infamous addresses, right? So like say if you don't know no better, you just happen to move to a warehouse, right? And that warehouse like is just known for like consolidation, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. And like you just go in there, you're trying to open up a trucking company, you run an office in that warehouse. Doesn't matter what suite it is, it's still that warehouse. That address automatically gets flagged to like old carriers, maybe a present carrier that obviously their reputation is not good, and now you are screwed, right? Is there any way of fixing that? Like once that, you know, association like say goes in the highway?
Again, those are more of, I would say, insights, and those aren't necessarily something.
Got it. All right, let's get into the red flag of carriers. I know
I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah, let's
a
go.
lot of people are waiting for that one, right? So obviously there's been a lot of situations in the past where, you know, companies are getting banned and, you know, not able to use highway, and then obviously costing them a substantial amount of business, right? So what obviously, in my opinion, you know, after talking to you guys, I see that, you know, it's getting better. You guys are obviously trying to help these people out. So like, what are you guys doing to make the process like better now to help out the companies that get, you know, shut down, you know, unfairly?
So I think it's in terms of definition, we got to define about what we're talking about when you say banned. So, you know,
Like I'm not
there's
talking about like
several.
a, you know, like a double broker or like, you know, any kind of like, you know, malicious carrier. I'm talking about like, you know, like for example, like that box truck police officer guy that you helped, right, fix the shit. Like people like that over something like, you know, like obviously it's not their fault, like uploading a license or maybe like a VIN matching, and they get blocked or they're not able to use or red flagged, you know what I mean? And then for at least from what I see, you guys are working on those issues. You are fixing them. But like, so what are you guys, you know, doing more about that right now?
So the first thing is we are a security platform, right? And that first and foremost, we're a security platform. Um, and so what I would say is, you know, if your access is blocked, there's usually a good reason why your access is blocked to the platform. But you know, the situation with the box truck gentleman, you know, he had insights, and insights don't generally make someone a bad carrier. It's just if you have, let's say, a lot of insights, it's usually where there's smoke, there's fire. So in essence, he wasn't banned. He just had a few insights on his profile that would lead compliance to ask more questions, right? And so like when you
Actually,
say
let me
banned,
rephrase the ban part. Okay, not
yeah,
banned
yeah.
off highway, but just obviously red flagged in the system, so a lot of brokers don't use you.
And even then, red flags, there's varying different degrees of red flag, or what you would say is what I would call an identity alert. And an identity alert is there to showcase if there's possible stolen assets that they may have been associated with, maybe if there was a report of double brokering, and maybe if there's other things that we witness, maybe it's a flagged ELD device, flagged insurer, like some of those things come across as an identity alert, right? And those are things that our fraud team investigates heavily, and they're very involved when it comes to investigating those. And the best way to contact the fraud team if you suspect you have an identity alert is emailing carrieridentity@highway.com.
Could
And
you just
they're
repeat
working
that
those
one more time?
cases.
Carrier identity
Yeah,
at highway.com.
carrieridentity@highway.com. And that is the team that's going to be able to help you if you do have an identity alert, and work help with that process. And so, um, you know, and so like there's varying degrees. And so like let's just talk about being blocked first. There's got to be a significant reason where we have seen fraudulent activity that would lead to you not having access to your account, right? Maybe the person that tried to gain access to the account, they scanned their face, maybe didn't match the face that was originally created for that account. In our terms of service, you're not supposed to be sharing accounts. You know, your account is your account. It'd be like me trying to log into your bank account, Bobby. You know, and so like you're not supposed to be able to go log into someone's bank account because then you can go sign all these contracts, right? And so like, you know, if there's fraudulent activity, that's a good way to get yourself blocked from the platform. But let's just talk through the other pieces of identity alerts and insights. Insights are there to showcase where possible associations could lead to someone maybe operating a chameleon carrier or something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and identify carriers that maybe are connected in ways that they wouldn't want you to know, right? And sometimes they're innocuous, right? And sometimes they lead to actual details. And I think that's where we're not actively, you know, putting our thumb on the scale saying good or bad carrier. All we're doing is presenting the data for uh, you know, procurement and compliance people to make an educated decision. Our identity alerts are there to make sure that if we witness any activity, that it requires further investigation or reports to, showcase maybe a change of ownership, which is a very new fraud vector where, someone sells their MC. They didn't really sell their full business. They just sold that MC, which, if you look at Facebook Marketplace, it is a very active marketplace. And they go and essentially they steal your identity, and then they wait, they move a few loads, get in good with a broker, and then they break bad and steal a few loads, and it goes to the original owner. And we recently had a case of that. And so like I think it's one of those things where it's understanding how the tool is operated to understand kind of, in what position you're in, right? If you're having ELD issues, ELD service at highway.com. And if you're just having a general issue, service at highway.com. And at the end of the day, if someone wants my email, I'm not hard to find. I'm also always on LinkedIn.
It's actually on your, it's under your name.
Well, there you go. Well, that's even better. So I joined from
YouTube.
here. So good.
Okay. Basically, I think what we like is a lot of people are getting into the address and the VIN numbers portion of it, right? So, say for example, like over here in Chicago, there's a bunch of infamous addresses, right? So, like, say if you don't know no better, you just happen to move to a warehouse, right? And that warehouse, like, is just known for like consolidation, all that kind of stuff. And like, you just go in there, you're trying to open up a trucking company, you run an office in that warehouse. Doesn't matter what suite it is, it's still that warehouse. That address automatically gets flagged to like old carriers, maybe a present carrier that obviously their reputation is not good, and now you are screwed, right? So like, is there any way of fixing that? Like once that association, like say goes in highway?
So again, those are more of, I would say, insights, and those aren't necessarily something that fails a carrier, but that's something the carrier is going to have to speak through.
Yeah, no,
And that's
exactly.
speaking
But
through
that's
the
what I'm saying. Like a lot of brokers will like look at it. They'll be like, okay, associated companies, those companies were bad. We're not using you. Like and that's it.
They'll look at it, but it's also publicly available knowledge. If you look at the FMCSA address, then you go and do a Google search, you'll be able to find that regardless of whether it was on highway or not. And so, like, if I went through and took that insight down, it would take away from the integrity of the tool, which is something that honestly it's publicly available information. So I mean, it's just the news.
What's the best way? Just search every single address before you move to it. You think that'll be the best idea for that one, so people don't get screwed?
A quick Google search could tell you everything you need to know from most addresses. And at the same time, it's not necessarily something that's going to fail you, and it's not necessarily something that's going to keep you from working with a specific broker. But if a warehouse has a reputation maybe of laundering freight, and what if there's still 10 other active carriers there, and there's one that has recently stolen freight? It is an association to that address, but it's not. It won't take someone but a little bit more research to figure out that event was happening, right? And so, like, again, it's more of like reporting the score. But let's talk about your friend, the box truck owner, right? So he opened his box truck within his home address in an apartment, and that was the business address, right? Police officer, great guy. I spent a lot of time talking to him about what he was having. And so, like, I think it just takes more time when you're setting up a business, being really cognizant of how that looks, right? And so, like, you wouldn't go and set up a 25 truck carrier from your house. And I think it's just one of those things where you got to be a good business owner, and you have to set up a physical address. A lot of times you see some of these carriers have a PO address as their business address, right? And so there's no physical location. And that can always lead to brokers asking more questions. And I think at the end of the day, questions are valid, right? And so, like, it's how you answer those questions and how you set up your business is really how you can really give yourself the best foot forward.
Now, what about the VIN number part, right? So you buy a truck, right?
Change the license plate. I see it a lot. And so, like, I've seen some where the license plate is the exact same as it was.
Well, then something's sketchy at that point. So, I wouldn't even argue with you on that one. But say just the VIN number for the truck, and then they're able to just email you guys. I'm sorry, I think your internet's breaking up a little bit. Well, we gotta let your internet catch up a little bit. Uh-oh. You there?
I can still.
You're coming in and out, so I'm gonna just let it catch up really quick till you catch better signal.
I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me or
Yeah.
not.
Well, now I can hear you, bro.
I'm in a different conference room. I had to go away from our floor because it gets really loud because we're always on the phone.
Well, your picture is just, we can hear you, but your picture is stuck. Okay, but so basically, so VIN number, if that pops up right, and then the license plate the license plate is changed, then they could hit you guys up and be like, hey, could you fix this for us? Would that be something that's fixable in your system then? Uh-oh. We lost them. All right, let me look through the comments while waiting for him to catch. I think you have to go back to where you were if you could hear me. Let me go back, see if I can find any comments we could ask. Oh no. He's probably got to call back in. Now you see two of me, so it is what it is. All right, where are we at? Comments. Let's read them through while waiting for him. Do you do dump truck? No dump truck. I believe they're complying a list of preferred insurance. Yes, they are for the insurance carriers. All right, there you are, bro. We're just reading comments, waiting for you to come back.
Yeah, I bet everyone's getting caught up. No, sorry about that. I'm in a conference room in a different part of our building.
You're good.
Just to get away so it's not so loud for everybody.
Got it. All right. So the VIN number part, right? So if you buy a truck from a shitty company, the VIN number has a problem. As long as you change the license plate, then they can reach out to you guys, give you a bill of sale, and then fix the link between the two companies, or no?
Yeah, yes, sir. Just send it to service@highway.com.
Okay, service@highway.com for that one.
Yeah.
For that one as well. I mean, okay, so I mean, you guys now, what's the email for, like, say for example, if somebody's having problems like with the flags, is that compliance one or is that the service one?
So flags, again, got to be more specific. Let's so if it's a carrier identity alert, someone shares, like, maybe you have an identity alert on your profile, that's going to be carrier identity. General inquiries and the other things we're talking about, that's service@highway.com. ELD specific issues, ELD service@highway.com. And so those are the best ways to really get through to us. We get 3,000 phone calls a day, we get 4,000 emails a day. And we have an average first response time of 8 minutes. We're usually, within 8 minutes you have a response and we're working with you on that. So I mean, it's one of those things where we have to sift through so many of these fraudulent actors to get to the good ones. And like I said, I know some people feel like there's a lot of non-emotion, and we've intentionally, introduced friction into the market. But I know you asked me before when we talked off record, like, how do we give someone a heads up of what changes are going to be made? And I really think it comes down to, if someone's going to be robbing your house, they're not going to come knock on your door and say, hey, I'm going to rob your house in 3 days, be ready. They're going to just come and rob your house. And so, like, we always have to be ever vigilant because we are a security platform.
Because I got you. I lost your picture on my on the thing here. I'm trying to see how I can fix it. Zoom, why is it not working? Of course, man. Shoot. Hold on. Why is it not working?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I was hearing guest Wi-Fi, so I changed my hotspot.
Oh my goodness. Zoom. No, I just lost it. Well, I guess we have to look at it on YouTube. On YouTube, there's nothing on this blink. I have to fix this somehow. Sorry. No, it's just frozen on TikToks, and then the rest of it is. All right, Zoom meeting. What the hell? There we go. All right, we're back here. Let me just fix it up. Oh, there you go. It works everywhere now. All right, my fault. All right, where were we? Which one were we talking about? Sorry, I got lost trying to fix it really quick. Could you hear me now or no?
No, I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. You can't hear me, you said?
There we go.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, where were we? Sorry, man. I got lost trying to fix the shit really quick.
I got lost as well, so
All All right. So at least there's options for carriers now, right? So if some people are screwed now, they got emails and stuff like that to reach out to. So there is like progress on working towards helping carriers that deserve it, right? Obviously, not scumbag people like what I used to do with like rail and stuff like that, but like actual carriers that are good that get screwed over. There's places where they could actually reach out and try to fix their situations, right? If it's like nothing bad.
And again, I wouldn't even say screwed. I would say it's just misconceptions of the platform. A lot of it just comes from misconceptions. I mean, really, like, you have guys, owner operators going to go do IDV, and their wife is the one starting it, trying to hand it over to their husband to complete, and then get back to it. It's that's someone else trying to gain access to the platform, and it's pretty easy to see.